So the idea was we were going to try and get the shaft and the whole drive system back in place. So I took the shaft over to Jackson, who's the expert over here in the workshop, and he put it on 2 rollers, had a look to find out that actually it's not straight. There's a slight kink in it. So I've said to him, can you let us know when you're going to straighten it on the press, which is how he does it. He does it all by sight, and here he is right now working on it. So as I said, Jackson does this all by sight. What he's done is he's put the shaft along 2 sets of rollers, and he turns it around, and you can see where there's an imperfection in the rolling of the shaft. He then makes 2 marks where he thinks the press has to go down between. So once he's got that lined up, he then gets his assistant to jack down the press, and it presses it down between those 2 marks, and you can actually see there's so much force in it. It's lifting up the end of the shaft, bending it up. They then keep it there for a few seconds, and then they let off the pressure, and that in theory straightens it. But in fact, he's doing this all just by eyesight, and he is supposed to be very, very good at this. So I have complete faith that he will end up with perfectly true shaft. So I just asked Jackson how serious the problem is, and he said there are 2 areas on the shaft that are bent. The one on the inside end that goes into coupling, he said, was a smaller bend, but the one on the outside end, which is where the shaft goes through the P-bracket towards the prop, he said there's 4 points along that shaft where he has to straighten it. This begs the question, how did this happen? Because this shaft is only 4 years old, I think. We've done a lot of motoring, bear in mind, of course, over those years, but I'm surprised at how much it's bent. But then again, you could, of course, argue that perhaps a lot of shafts are more bent than we realise. I would never have guessed that it was misaligned, but there we go. It takes a professional to really see it. We have had a very productive 2 days, the last couple of days. The shaft got straightened thanks to Jackson. Thank you, Jackson. It's had a good polish. The cutlass bearing is back in the P-bracket, and the shaft has gone back into place. And the other thing we've done is to put the flexible coupling back. That now looks brand new in its smart metallic red. I didn't choose it, by the way. I got one of the guys here to pick up the paint, but that's now in place. So the next job we've got to do, the next job I've got to do, is to put the new PSS Dripless seal back on. So I'm going to show you that in a moment. Meanwhile, Lizzie's been finishing off the seacocks, so they've all been serviced now, and she is working on that horrible dinghy cover that it lost its stitching around the Velcro when we were on the Sabah rally, and so she's going to give it a wash and try and stitch it all back together as well. So back to the horrible cupboard. Got to get all that crap out of there, and then it's a morning of contortion as I put that dripless seal back on. No footage of you covering the dinghy then?
No, covering the dinghy was a nightmare, to be honest with you, because I'm not a natural on a sewing machine, so it took me a day to get the sewing machine to stop stopping and to actually start working. That was just a day to do that, to understand it. But once I got going, I didn't want any distractions, so I didn't take any footage of me sewing. Sorry, but I guess you're going to show at some point the final finished product.
I think we have a little clip somewhere, but she did a very good job anyway. But if you missed footage of Liz stitching up the dinghy cover, then we have an advert for you instead. Liz and I are trying to realign the shaft into the flexible coupling, and as you can hear, we've been communicating on the VHF because she's outside and I'm inside. The way it works with our setup, and this may be similar to yours or it may not, but we don't have a keyway in our shaft. Instead it's held by 3, 6, 7, 8 Allen bolts. 2 Allen bolts are curved at the bottom like this. They act as kind of grub screws, and there's 2 indentations 180 degrees opposite each other on the shaft, and so those 2 Allen grub screws have to go in the right spot, which basically means aligning it that way and that way. And it can be tricky because as it goes into the coupling itself, it gets tighter and tighter and it becomes more difficult to turn. So it's a case of putting the boat into gear to lock the transmission so that we can turn it one way or the other. Anyway, after about 20 minutes, I didn't think that was too badly going. We're pretty much in alignment now. So what this means is I can lock off the flexible coupling on the shaft and go back to the dripless seal and try and get that collar in the right position.
So the dripless seal works by the bellows, which are part of the dripless seal, compressing against the steel collar. And our problem was that because it was a new unit, it was very stiff. So to get that at least inch worth of compression, we had to get Jackson to make a tool or something. Was that right?
Yeah, so Jackson came along and he created this little tool which allowed, it kind of acts like 2 wedges, I suppose, which is what I'd used in the past. Yeah. And those 2, the wedges push that steel collar on. I think we might have another clip in a later episode. Okay. But essentially, as you say, because it's a new bellows, rubber bellows, they're very difficult to push.
Okay, that's a good thing though, because you know once you've got it on, it's good and properly sealed. That's the idea. Okay.
That is the idea.
Right,
yes.
There you go.
Just quickly while we're here, I wanted to address the damn annoying YouTube algorithm, which is super aggressive. What's happening is that even if you're subscribed to a channel, and I've noticed this, if you don't watch a video for a couple of weeks from that channel, they stop getting suggested to you and you kind of fall off the radar. And we've had people get in touch with us saying, oh, I didn't realise you were putting out videos. Well, this is because you haven't clicked the little notification bell. If you do that, that is a guaranteed way to make sure you get notified in your YouTube feed when we put out a new video.
Yes, and I'm also going to take this time to say thank you very much to our Patreons and FTP mates, all of whom see these videos a week earlier. So if you want to do that and be guaranteed, then think about becoming a subscriber to both of those or either of those. But if you don't want to do full-time membership of our little group, you can just drop a tot in the rum fund whenever you feel like it. If there's something that really floats your boat, if you enjoyed what we've done, then a drop of rum in our rum fund is very, very easy to do. And I want to take this opportunity, we both want to take this opportunity to say thank you for our new rum funders. You are amazing, wonderful people, and I am crap because I haven't replied and thanked you by email, but I will do. So look out for an email in your inbox. Well, you can see already that Najmi is starting to put the blue tape on. That means we are literally 2 steps away from putting on our base coat and then anti-foul. So we're almost there, but we've got a few more important things to do in the meantime. The first one is putting the max prop back together. Now, I'm not going to go through the whole process because we've actually covered this off. If you look at some of our previous videos, we've broken this down completely. But in a nutshell, we've got the Max Prop Classic, and this is a geared system. So you can change the pitch on it. And it's a little bit complicated if you've never done it before because you have to know the angle of your prop, the reduction ratio of your gearbox, and a whole load of stuff which I've never fortunately had to do because when we inherited our Max Prop Classic, it had already had all the gears marked on it, which makes it a lot easier for us. So when we take it off, we know that we know how to put it back together. I have to say though, I have wondered whether it should change slightly. I'm not entirely sure. Sometimes I feel that the prop isn't performing as well as it could be. I guess this could be an opportunity to try and change one of the gears and change the ratio slightly, but then we could really cock things up and then we won't be able to do anything about it until we haul out again. It is possible to take it apart underwater, and I have done that once, believe it or not. It's not something I would advise.